Welcome, friends, to our Ideas Roundtable. This is one of the highlight activities of the Philippine Innovation Week, now on its second year. The purpose of this discussion is to try and get people to talk about ideas as an important precursor to success in life, whatever be your profession, business, or occupation. We hope that such ideas are infused with values and faith, and with a very good commitment with strong commitment to execution and sustainability. We have before us 8 individuals who I respect and who I'm sure can engender the kind of discussions we hope to begin across this country on the need for different ways of looking at our country and how it should succeed, our society, our education, our businesses. So without further ado, let me ask our facilitator to take over. This is a freewheeling discussion. You are welcome to make an opening statement, or we can go straight into the discussion of the idea of ideas and what they should represent to serious people concerned with how we live, how we succeed, and how we are as a community and as a nation. Brother Obet is our facilitator.
So I think certainly have started and we're ready. So when we talk about ideas and as involved and committed people to the improvement of the country and also the basic group, which is family. So we open the discussion on top of mind ideas, what you want to put into the table, so yeah, we synergize.
Oh, Anya, why don't you start? What do you think?
Well, for me, as earlier discussed, ideas are nothing if we cannot implement or it cannot be generated. So one thing that I admire is this concept in Japan. They have a concept called ikigai. Ikigai means it's a purpose of being. So within this ikigai, they have a formula. So it says what are you good at, what is your passion, what the world needs, and then what you can get paid for or sustain yourself for. So within that, if you find that ikigai in you, that's I think is the best example of how you can have progress the idea into a working model or into something that's concrete.
Is this your guiding principle
It's
launching your project?
yes, it's one of the concepts that I'm very impressed with, and I try to emulate.
So how to spell it?
Ikigai, I-K-I-G-A-I, Ikigai.
Purpose of proof.
Do you have a lead project that is worth emulating a very successful one or
Well,
concept to actually?
yeah. Well, right now, what we do is we convert old shipping containers to low-cost housing for minimum wage workers.
Very good. Starting in that.
Yes.
But what is the idea behind what you're doing?
Well,
Trying just to make available housing, change people's lives?
Well,
What is the...
right now what I can see is the ideas that are then, it has to have purpose. It has to serve something. So I'd like to give an example like Uber, how it started. It's because of a search of one man having a hard time looking for rides. Airbnb, how it started, is because of somebody trying to look for housing. So I think it can't just be something that you are not familiar with or you're not immersed in, because it will then be hard for you to understand the needs of it.
Do ideas have to be practical always? Can ideas not be broader concepts?
Yes,
as the ways of doing things?
I do believe so. Like for example, let's not stick to just business or that. Let's say for arts, music, poetry, paintings. these are also a beautiful way of manifestations of ideas that has some humanitarian value to it.
So bigyan trend ngayon pala di ba? Among the young people, poetry is becoming something where they could convey their thoughts. Anyway, going back to what particular, you're saying that the Uber innovators or the ideas would launch Uber and Airbnb are coming from a need.
Their personal needs.
So in your case, you started a housing program. What irked you first that led you to this project?
Well,
that affected you personally. So much Pinoy kasi when we're not affected personally, we will not act.
well, in my case, it was not as direct as I used to work for a real estate company, and what the projects that we do are into dormitories. So we build and operate dormitories, but basically these are the traditional concrete buildings, and we cater to the call center market or the universities. So when the company decided that they want to come up with a CSR project, that's when they asked me to come up with a model of what we can do for CSR. And since our expertise was into dormitory operation, we decided, okay, let's stick to dormitories, but then let's cater now to the lowest market sector, which are the minimum wage. So we then did research on how to come up with the cheapest way to construct the structures so that we can have the leasing or rentals as low as possible. That's how we explored using old containers. And when we started, it was very small. Again, it was a CSR, so it's a non-profit. It doesn't, we started with four old containers, capacity of about 60 beds. As soon as we opened, it was immediately filled. So we then increased another 60 beds, filled up again another 60, until we reached 300. When I guess because of the economy of scale, we were then generating revenues from that, and we had a very long wait list. So that is when we decided to evolve the project from just a CSR now into a social enterprise. So from one site in Mandaluyong, we have now 4 sites in Manila, and our mission is to have expand one of these sites in every city in Manila. So we have 16 cities, we're in 4, so we have 12 more to go.
So my question is a discussion on ideas something that must always result in something practical? Or what do you think?
Well, I'd like to address myself to the statement by
Panya.
I think it's a core idea that we can start with. Reminds me of Viktor Frankl's In Search of Meaning. The society today needs a sense of purpose. We have lost it. Individuals, the millennials particularly, the digital generation spends a lot of time, wastes a lot of time on technology without substance. I think we have to get to the center of things. What are we? Who are we? What are we here for? What Sami was trying to do in his school, making science and faith integrating us as one reality should be the purpose of daily living. What Benny recalled earlier, sa ikaunlad ng bayan, disiplina ng kailangan. We conceived that program early during martial law, and it was a great success. It introduced discipline on the streets everywhere, but of course the backsliding came in. People wanted things easy. They could not stand Chief Justice Fernando lining up and telling young boys, "Oy, maglinya rin kayo kate. Chief Justice ako, naglilinya ako." No? We have to go back to these basic things in order to create this society that we'd like to see for our children. So, not every idea, I suppose, can immediately bear tangible fruits. But ideas will always have consequences. But we have to go back, I suppose. First step, we have to go back to the basics. First principles. We have forgotten first principles. There are two first principles. The Greeks call it synderesis. To do good and avoid evil. That is written on the human. The principle of non-contradiction. One cannot be and not be at the same time. This is no longer in our politics. No sense of reality. No. Objective truth. And yeah. It's no meaning to me because I am in power and I said this is it. So, thank you for introducing this line. Ikigai. But that is not Thai, that is Japanese.
It's universal.
So when Rizal said the youth are the hope of the fatherland, was that an idea? Ed?
Yeah.
Is that the kind of idea that we should have, that should be valid for any time and era? Or are we talking only of ideas as having timeliness of the moment, of a business or a proposition? When I think of what Rizal says, I begin to think, when we think of our own lives, when we think of the legacy we will leave to the children that we have and our grandchildren, are we thinking along those lines? Are our ideas going to stand the what did they say, test of time? We are in CSRL. What do you think?
I will not contradict Rizal because I agree with what he said.
You can.
Well, in my case, when I was getting older, nearing the senior age stage, you know,
Which they cannot relate to.
you begin to think about how can I help the country in general, society in general, and leave a little legacy, you know, of doing something good. When you talk of inequality, you know, there's still a lot of poor people, so on and so forth, and you want to do something about it. Looking at it in a countrywide perspective, it's kind of difficult to be of help, to do something, no? But in a smaller scale, like in Maliko, when I saw Maliko, it's a barangay community, poor residents, IPs, but they have a wealth in terms of their location, the site, you know, the climate, and it's something that can be developed, you know, as a tourism site or something where the residents can benefit. And I have my expertise in organization, in telling them the bad developments that happen in other areas. We talk of Boracay, Baguio, and Tagaytay, and the other sites, no? Overdevelopment because of greed came in. How can we do something in that area where we can develop but make it sustainable? Because we will not replicate the mistakes committed in other areas. And I know it's a big task, but you know, since it's just a barangay, it's more manageable, and that's where the germination of this idea of, you know, doing something for that community and hopefully being able to succeed, and in the end be of help to the residents. And if the other seniors or other citizens of the country can also do the same in their own areas, then these small things that we're doing, if you combine them, probably can do something for alleviating the situation of the country at present. No? So that's how I look at it. No? Not being young, but you know, it's just, you know, once you get to a certain age.
Maliko is a barangay in what town?
In Santa Fe, that's the first town of.
Where the Santa Fe Trail starts.
You know, they have a.
Cordillera.
They have a
Where's Dupax? Is that near?
Dupax is after Santa Fe, 2 towns after Dupax. They have a story
Yes.
there, Senator. Before, according to the residents, during Marcos' time, Marcos wanted it to make it a Marcos City, Baliko and Imugan. That's what I heard from the residents. And it's just that the IP spot the plan of the government, and they won the case August of 1972.
And 1 month before.
Before.
They defeated Marcos.
Otherwise, you know, they could have been relocated, and you know. But anyway, yeah.
So Sam, yes.
Well, I wanted to react to what you said about youth being the hope of the fatherland.
So that's what Rizal said.
If you take a look
I'm
at
looking
what-
for those. What are those great ideas in the Philippines?
Well, I'd like to take 2 or 3 examples. And for example, I think there are 2 kinds of people. One are children adults. The other one is adult children. Look at what's happening in the US about the gun control. It's the young people. These are the children adults. They are children, but they're adults. And the rulers on top seem to be adults who are children. And so these children are marching now, shooting, telling these people to have some common sense, which perhaps in our adulthood we have lost because of so many things in between. We take a look at the Philippines. The meaningful change that happened during the revolution, it was the youth, the quarter storm. They were the ones leading. The first quarter storm. They were the ones leading the revolution, the ideal revolution. Somehow now it seems this thing has died down a bit. So I'm glad that we have here a student, si Marianne, perhaps to tell us adult children of what the real values are. You know? to wake us up like what they're doing in the States. Hey, wake up! You're adults, but you're children. So that's why I think the youth are the hope of the fatherland, really. And it's very important that we give them the right values at the start. That's why, as I was saying, education should be a integrated one. Technology and values, science and faith. And I think every teacher should be a values teacher, because values cannot be taught; it can only be caught. So a teacher has always to model the values that he is trying to teach,
So
even in science. These
So
are values.
Marian, you agree that he is an adult child?
Before we hear valuable things from a fresh man, of course all about are fresh, but from a young leader, I just want to jive on what my idol Tony was saying a while ago, that the future is the hope of the fatherland.
That's Rizal. That's Rizal.
That's
That's not me.
True, my idol Tony. And then here comes Cardinal Sin telling a big congregation before that the church, the youth is not the future of the church. He said that the youth is the church. So we see a dynamic role of the youth being both future and an ongoing strong force and resource. And what Sam was saying a while ago, they could be children adults, mature in mind but very young. Kaya bago sagutin ni Marian, gusto kong lalo pang i-challenge siya. Because we rather of senior age would look at them as aliens because they speak differently, they're disengaged, they're disinterested. Whereas they're the owners of the technology. Our level of technology would be, we know, but they're masters. You give a 4-year-old child, mga apo ng mga lolo na dito, alam paano punta ng games. Pag tingin mo, iba na ang face. So, they are the owners of the new society, and we seem to be like the alien now. So, knowing all those things, Marian, ano ang masasabi mo sa idea bilang voting as a voice of the youth?
Personally po, I believe in what Rizal said, that the youth are the future of the country. Because growing up, I was in a tight environment. my father was military, my mom was very traditional. So it was all, when I go home, did you get a perfect score? Are you top one? So it was a very enclosed environment.
Honor student,
So,
you
yes, and to me, what gave me to the other path is my varsity life. I was a previous varsity player back in Colegio San Agustin Academy under Coach Tita. And when I look back,
Volleyball.
volleyball. Yes, if you're familiar with the sila Julia Moran, they were my previous students. So looking back, I'm more thankful to my coach. Why? Because she was the one who taught me discipline. She was the one who taught me there are more people, how to work in a team. So these are the values I was looking for growing up. Academic side, it's easy to learn. You can read from the books. But the values I learned through experiences, by exposing myself to different outreaches, to different opportunities. As a person, it was what I was looking for. I was looking for purpose. So when we go back to the idea of ideas, I believe they are starting points. Back then, my idea was I want to be able to give other children the opportunity, because I got also involved in leadership programs wherein we were able to teach grade school students, high school students what it meant to be a leader. So I was like, this is a direct opportunity for me to be able to help a child see that there are more opportunities, that there are things beyond academics. There are callings in society that they can actually answer to. And in fact, that's why I'm very grateful that I found Brooklyn Alliance, because as early as 10 years old, they make you realize that as a human, you have dignity. You have that innate value that no one can take away from you. And from that, you realize that you have that freedom. Either you practice, there's two types of freedom as you learn, freedom of indifference and freedom of excellence from St. Thomas of Aquinas. Freedom of excellence is when you exercise your freedom to do good, to help the others, to have a society to help society in a way. Freedom of indifference is just, I get to do what I want. So if we learn that we have this value, if we learn that that the world is so much full of opportunities for us, then we realize that we have this freedom, that we can do a much greater sense, and we can do something greater and be able to contribute more to our society.
Does that mean, Benny, that for an idea to be worthwhile, it must be involved in some kind of revolution or major change? Because that is sometimes the idea, right? That good ideas should result in fundamental changes. How about incremental changes? How about changes that are not so obvious? Since you have more years, more than any of us, what do you think about these different concepts of ideas?
That's why there was an English word called serendipity. You're looking for something and you discover something better. Sometimes, in fact, I'm guilty of judging. Who says judge that should be judged. In fact, last Monday was one of the most, I told I'll be there only for 40 hours or so. I came from an illness. I was not allowed to attend a conference more than 2-3 hours. But I stayed the whole day. This is one of the best, in fact, he has the makings of the best Secretary of Science and Technology. Because he came from middle. Most of those taken by presidents and heads of this PhD and so forth. The anti-host detectors, they call it.
Anti-host detectors, PhD.
But this one came as a professor from UP. In fact, you'll be impressed. Up to now, we call him Boy. And, you know, even at a limited budget, he has done the best for, I used to call the US Department of Science and Technology.
Sayang.
But now they have produced the best. In fact, if you can consolidate the reports, lahat, even the priest there, Father Salazar,
Father Rod.
Brad Salazar,
SPD.
You know, I talked to him after. Sabi ko, Father, I know for about middle class UP graduates, brothers, the same family name as yours, including the middle initial C, who excelled out of their jobs on major millions, out of their jobs, not because of family background. His namesake, Ran Salazar, became president of an American pharmaceutical company. He saw that the American company was paying for his Greenhills residence, and he computed it. He talked to the owner of the house, why don't you sell the house? And he was paying less amortization. In 5 years' time, the house was his. Naka-saving company, sa savings. Now, sabi ni Father, sabi na, no, we're not related. You know, Sally Salazar, yes, I knew him very well. Kapatid ni Alex Sisip Salazar Hernandez to office. He was the brother of my father. Okay. And because Sally didn't have any child, my father made up for it. We have 10. And you're the only priest, no. There are 2 of us, but I'm the only priest now because the other one died. His ideas are worth consolidating and so forth, improving on. Because the idea here is housing, shelter, and the like. It's just one solution. Perhaps you can vary the solution, one particular problem, several solutions, then we come out winners in this respective field. Then June will provide cost control, efficiency. You're going to export to Germany. Oh. From one household, ni hindi college graduate, high school yung mga tao niya.
Katulong, mga katulong.
Katulong, oh. We call it equality. Then you look at the problems of others. In Kuwait, kung minumahal ng mga maids, $400. Ang tinatanggap lang pala $200. Hindi pa nasa sweldohan sa 200. Naabuso pa. We can provide all opportunities for all people. Part of the exploitation that we have, you don't have to deny, we grew up with maids left, right, and center. We grew up with drivers. Bakit? Hindi ba exploitative? Dahil napakarami. Oh. Sasabihin mo, Lord, I'm providing opportunities for them, buti wala namang makakain yan. Sinusweldo ko na lang yan. Hindi like. Because you rationalize with your conscience. If I will touch your mind about it, God, I was asked to do the invocation earlier. I don't know if he copied it from an author, but I got it 31 years ago. And pagka good things, including Bible passages and so forth, it sticks to my mind. Itong ba nito, my conversation with the Lord. Sabi niya, Lord, please take away my pride. And the Lord said, no, it's not for me to take away, but for you to give up. Lord, please grant me the gift of patience. And the Lord said, no, patience is a byproduct of tribulation. It's not granted, it's earned. Lord, please make my handicapped child God. The Lord said, no. His body is just known to him, his spirit is full. Lord, please let me grow in the spirit. And the Lord said, no, you have to grow on your own, but I continuously prune you so you can grow. Lord, please grant me the gift of happiness. The Lord said, no, I'll give you blessings and blessings. Happiness is up to you. And he said, Lord, please take away my fears, my worries, my concerns, my sufferings, my illnesses. And the Lord said, no, it's when you have this that you're closest to me. It's when you have this that you go to me. And Lord, if all of the things I ask for you don't give, you love me. Love you did not agree my only begotten Son to save you from your sins and sinfulness. If that's not love, I don't know what is. Lord, teach me to love others the way you teach me. The word you have given to me, the word you taught me. And I wanted that to be the spirit of the humility in us. That at the start of the day, we always ask for blessings. I start the day with thank you, Lord, for the blessings. Thank you, Lord, for the gift of life. Teach me how to share my blessings. It's a rebound now, but I've been praying for the last 15 years. Teach me how to give my blessings. I've given blessings to others, created more successful people than I am. And it gives you a certain degree of success. Perhaps this is one, may magandang project in shelter. I've seen success stories of the shelter. My own nephew did it and the like. They did it to office in Makati. They sold it 3 times over. It's just one opportunity and the like. in one of the four of Tony, I met the Senator Villar. She's so hardworking. She was an agricultural school in all towns. So I got the when you're going to go, sabi ko sa Iris Monas in Montalban, I went to the mayor, I was going to the mayor, I'm going to the primary school tayo dyan, and the like. Sabi ni mayor, bigay ko lang, bigay mo sa amin para akong katabi niya. Umpisa ko lang, good ideas, wala na. You open a school in Montalban, because Montalban is a rich one eh. Maganda ang culture. NPA dito, nag sa Bulacan. Ang Dumagat is the most honest people you can see. Pag nag-commit sa'yo, kumitin. At ang dali makilala. Dati lang apelido, Cruz, Santos at Juanet. Sila, dati lang napili ng apelido, yun ang na-assign sa kanila. But you see, small people, you see that you can work with them. Hindi mo na kailangan i-audit eh. Very honest. Yung NPA din sa society nato, hindi ka pa pumapablo, meron ka ng tax, ito, mapartika ito. Kaya, wala tayo pag-asa eh. Kaya lang, itong if you can get the minutes of last Monday, that's the most fun. Hindi umalis si Boy all throughout. He
was planning on leaving, then he talked with someone. Maganda pala yung conference natin, sabi niya.
Ang galing lahat, pati ng undersecretary. I didn't know that we have a Diwata.
Innovation Forum, that's not it.
In Diwata natin is surveying the entire Philippines. 22.6% nasa survey nila in July. The entire Philippines, parang Google. So we will know. We can tell this provincial governor, you have either lands there, kung ayaw deal ng landowner, let the other steal it and give 10% of the proceeds to the landowner, may proceeds sila nila. We're behind food production. If they are part of the planting, they cannot be part of the looting. Participated sila. And place an idea. Dito, pag planting season, matapik. Bakit? Ikalsada, nilalagyan mo ng palay eh. Then there must be something to it. Audit every governor. At the start of your term, what did you do? What did you do for your environment? And the like. Ilan ang open spaces mo? Ilan ang other livelihood project. That can be within the community. Pwedeng ma-developing kayo within Nueva Vizcaya, Isabela.
So Benny, so what is your idea about ideas?
Ang ideas, ang sabi ng isa, innovation. You notice the eye here and the eye there. The eye on the other side is near the end. Your eye and his eye should blend to produce a better plan. Kaya dito, we exchange ideas. If we can nurture one good idea and expand it, improve it on other sectors, hindi pwedeng ito good for Mindanao, ito good for Pan. The climates are different. People are different. Even the culture.
Jun, is there something you'd like to say about ideas?
Success na ganda.
Yung sa akin po, we want to duplicate yung yung na-test na namin sa aming company, kasi when we started it, our first na training is more on the values. Considering na yung mga gawa namin ay galing na sa urban poor, iba-iba talaga ang values na napakahirap. Even paggamit ng CR, wala talaga eh. Yung mga pagkasahod nila, the following day upset. Mga ganong klase Tapos, nung bababae, ang daming sakit ng ulo. But then, introduce namin yung value formation. Tapos, realignment of values sa corporate values ko namin. Kailan it takes time. Meron talagang follow-up. So, nagbago eh. Kaya nga nung in-interview kami ng BPI, paano nyo dinistribute yung gains? Sabi kasi meron kaming kasama doon na tao, hindi po namin kailangan yung additional kasi kailangan namin yung papunta sa aking personal development, trainings. Kasi kaya kami nag-invest sa trainings continuous trainings sa mga tao, skills development. So dati yung labor productivity is around 90 kilos per man hour. Ngayon more than 300. Wow. More than 300. Ngayon they are earning more than what yung minimum wage, no? Kasi na-train sila pwede silang gumawa ng multiple function, multitask.
So, you're saying, may skill training, pero may values formation.
Una muna, value formation, that's the foundation and we want to duplicate that sa mga satellite na buksan namin.
Do you also do mentoring, coaching?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Yes.
how is
Even
the
we transfer technology.
how do you, given that size of the people who work for you, ano ang ratio ng one mentor to how many people?
Actually, alos lahat ng mga manggagawa namin pwede namin bitawan na Pwede namin sila bitawan na mag-mentor.
Talaga. So
Yeah.
they mentor each
Yeah.
other. Pero yung ano mo, pioneers mo, how did you do it? The very first ones.
Yung very first one talaga, matagal kasi yung namin engagement namin sa kanila, no. Talagang ang tawagan namin doon kuya ate. So then kahit anong pan siguro open sila pumasok sa amin. So ang kagandahan kasi dito is that we empower them, we teach them, we train them. In fact, may pagmamalaki namin dito is even yung documentation ng ISO 22000 namin for safety management system, sila nag-document within a period of 3 months. Well, in fact, I came from large companies. Nung nagpapadocument ako noon, we pay millions of pesos sa mga experts. Kaya dito kasi yung pagdidisiplin din kasi empowered na sila nakadokumento sila yung nakapirma doon any violation kasi diyan nakatakip ngayon sa manual namin, employee manual. So protektahan nila ngayon yan. Protectin nila. Kung sino man mag-violate yan, talagang mabibigyan ng disciplinary action. So ganun po ang tawag dito. Pwede namin silang iwanan.
So, if you look at what you're doing, what is the idea that binds everything together in your organization?
Values.
Values.
Personal values.
How about ikaw, Panya? Ano yan? What is that great idea that parang brings together your entire operation in your business?
Well, I would say it's similar values. It's people first.
People
first.
When you get the right people and the right mindset.
It's
the
not
right
to earn 3 billion pesos every 2 months.
No, I mean,
Every month.
there was. I remember there was this article I was reading on the internet about a nurse who did an interview of elderlies. She's a nurse in an elderly home in the U.S. And what she asked was, what is your regrets in life? So she asked almost 100 elderly. None of them answered. Not enough house, not enough money, not enough car, not enough. It's all what they said was, I wish I said I love you to my first love. I wish I had the courage to leave my job and do what I really want. It's at the end of the day, I think none of the material things will matter really in life. Sometimes I go to like before in our university, security guard. I was so amazed by this personal outlook in life. Always smiling, always greeting people, and to think that they earn pretty much minimum wage, right? And you see some very wealthy people who are always troubled. Seems like they're always worried, but they have all the money. Now I asked the security guard, what gives you that perspective in life that you always have? He said, when I go home, I have a dinner with my family. We chat, that's good enough for me. We have free meals. But maybe a different perspective from work. I have to protect my empire. I have to, So different perspectives of things. How about you?
So since you were looking at Benny when you were saying she was interviewing people of a certain age, so Benny,
Ano sasabihin ko, tatanda ka din.
that's a good idea. So what's your superior? Yeah, what's your idea? about ideas.
What's coming out of this discussion is that the primacy of the individual, it seems, no? People, society is made for people, not people, the person, not for society. It seems that's what's coming out. The most important component in whatever is the person, right? And so I would like also to comment on what you're doing, because in our drug rehab programs, the number one, the first basic thing is also the values formation. No, I mean, you know, and we are adopting a kind of adaptation of the Alcoholics Anonymous, which is 12 steps. If you heard about the 12 steps, you know, so we are adapting this for drug rehab. We go through the 12 steps in 12 sessions, and I just perhaps would like to compare with what you're doing, and with what you're doing to find out if there could be ways whereby we can improve this people development thing, you know, which I think should also go to the schools, because the schools are especially for grade school and high school, because I think these are the formative stages of the individual, and if values are really embedded there, then ganon. It's like us in the seminary. I entered the seminary when I was only 12 years old. But the values that I learned in the seminary stick to me until now, because these are the formative years. So that's my...
So, Kim, since everybody's talking about values, we must be total failures. Because if it's true that we are all concerned about values, then why do we have the society we have? Why do we have the kind of problems we have? Since these successful leaders are all talking about the primacy of values, what happened?
Well, the fact that we recognize the state of things means we are not yet a failure.
We're not lost. We're not lost. There is hope. There is hope. There is hope.
Well, Tony, I would like to comment on that one.
Yes.
When you were in AIF, I was the only one talking about values and good life, etc. All you guys were talking about girls, about cars, about salaries, etc.
Ako yung kasama ko.
But now,
Parang hindi ako yun.
but now when we have our reunions, we have our class reunions. My job function is taken over by my classmates. When they talk about values, they talk about religion, they talk about faith. I was amazed when we had a reunion once. Remember Farouk?
Yes.
Who was one of our most worldly classmates.
He was the champion.
Really stood up.
No one will oppose that. He held all the records.
When he stood up, he talked like a minister,
Like
a
a
pastor,
priest.
and a priest.
Like a priest.
He outdid me. So I mean, you know,
Masama pa rin loob
we are not
niya.
yet we are not yet hopeless, kumbaga.
Yes, but the thing is this, if we do believe that we recognize that there's an issue, then what are the kind of ideas and how should this kind of ideas be approached so that we can somehow spread the word in a functional way, diba? And kasi you cannot say values, it's too vague. You cannot talk about so many things unless they are in a way that people can truly appreciate. And since our purpose this morning is to engender subsequent and additional discussions, what are your suggestions, especially coming from the young and the not so young? Di pa naman senior si Jun, not yet. What are those suggestions that you might have so that there is some kind of unidentified process for identifying the ideas that I guess will guide you personally and hopefully will be a little bit universal? What do you think?
Personally po, I believe that the reason why it's very difficult to have sustainable development and policies because not just Filipinos, a lot of people see things only externally. They only see the color of your skin. They only see what nationality you are. But they forget to see that we are all humans. And they forget to see the inner value of being a human. And in Worldly Alliance, we promote human dignity. When we recognize that we are all humans with the value, that we are all humans who are struggling. It is an idea that, for example, if I know that you are struggling, parang doesn't matter kung ano yung pinaghihirapan mo, basta alam ko may karami akong naghihirap. It unites, it binds people. But the problem is, we only see, naghihirap ka, but you're only trapped within your reality. That's why it's very difficult to have that mindset that I have to do something not just for my reality, but to the society as well. So,
Why are you telling me that you go to a party with kids and you start talking about human dignity, human value?
no.
I don't think you'll be invited to too many parties. So what is the correct approach? What is the idea about generating good ideas? Because you can't do that, and yet you want to. Diba? You must get invited through the door first, right? When we go to schools, we obviously have a challenge. Because if we start saying, you know, we have this discussion about ideas. Then when you tell people to sign up, it's a little bit difficult. I ran a concert. A few minutes pa lang, they know who's gonna come to sing. Although the price to pay is I will lecture them about CSR. The sheets of paper are not enough. Because I may bring up Dharma down. I may bring, because we have those. We have Yapak events as our way of selling youth CSR to the youth. We go around. Free concert? No. They pay, but all the money is given to, we adopted an NGO, a foundation that's helping Smoky Mountain. So, what is it? I mean, we understand it intellectually. I heard that you want it to be practical. Okay, how do we get people to talk about ideas? What are the practical ways to talk about ideas? It is nice that we have somebody who is in journalism, right, in media. But is that the only way? Our audience will be a lot of universities who want to be inspired and encouraged to talk about ideas. Because nobody talks about ideas. They want to talk about what's your social enterprise, what is your project. They want to volunteer, get involved, and then at the end you ask them, so what did you accomplish? Well, I built this house, okay, and then how did it change you? What is the idea that you got that will make you be a better citizen, a better husband, a better girlfriend? It's a good question, right? And as we get to the last part of this discussion, maybe we can spend a little time talking about these things. What do you think of it?
Well, if there are two people that Sam would share, I will also share about two people that I see in day-to-day life, and they rhyme. So the two influencers to a person would be a mentor and a tormentor. And a lot of young people are being tormented. That's why they close their lives, and they seem to be alienating themselves from the real ones who are mentor. My idea is that real change can happen, but it will be very tedious, but it's so effective. That's why I asked, is there a mentor? And you said there is, and they mentor each other. The young people has to have somebody who will walk with them. Not face them actually, but walk with them, understand them. Because I believe that during the earlier times, ideology became a religion. And ideology's root word is idea. And by heart-to-heart, mind-to-mind, person-to-person conversation from a mentor whose intent is for the betterment of the other person. I think slowly, change could happen. The way Tony in our conversation is mentoring me.
No, I'm learning from this old man. He has very good ideas, very dangerous ideas. But any good change is dangerous, right? Because it affects you at your gut. Our challenge is how do we hit their gut and still talk to them about ideas? Okay. That was my purpose when I started this morning. How do we, not only in our circles, talk about the things that if I put it on the internet, it will be as viral as some of these other viral things that I don't know why they are viral. Although garbage in Binondo is really bad. By the way, I heard this morning, they used to clean once a week, maybe. Now they're cleaning every day because they might go viral again. And the two barangay captains or barangays are worried where Estero de Binondo passes by. Without having to worry about whether it will go viral or not. Our is a revolution of person by person. Our foundation started with the idea of personal CSR, personal governance agenda, which I stole from Jesse Stanislav. Personalizing the challenge of making a difference both in ourselves, but without forgetting we are part of a community. When we talk about our individuals, I'm sure we're not talking about individualism. I'm sure we're talking about individuals as an integral part of a larger and stronger community and communities. And okay, how would you address that?
Well, we've been talking about values, no? And we ask, what values? Whose values? No? It's out there, you say a class of values. So we're invited, I believe, to go back to the basic propositions. What is right and what is wrong? We have lost that sense of distinction between right and wrong. If you do it and it's wrong, I'll say it is wrong. If I do what you're doing, which is wrong, it becomes right because I am involved. This is the kind of society we have become. We have to recognize the objective truth from the very beginning. I was in the Senate and I proposed a code of ethics for senators. I was majority leader. I ran the floor of the Senate for 5 Senate presidents, and that proposal never passed because, in the words of one colleague of mine, what is ethical to you is unethical to me. So we have lost the meaning of what is objective truth. Everything becomes subjective. I am more muscular than you are, and I say, this is it. So you better listen to me.
When you watch the world, it's the same everywhere.
Precisely.
This is the thing.
Precisely.
It's not a Philippine phenomenon.
No, it is not.
You watch American TV, you'll be horrified about ever going to the US. Because that is how they think.
This is the world. But this is what we have to change.
But is it
But-
only the young, or are those of us who are over 40 years old
No.
still able to?
It's not for the young alone.
Yeah.
For instance, in the case of the sexual morality, we are taught it's not good for minors to see this. I'm saying that it's good for adults to see. No, what affects the young affects the old. And we run into trouble the minute you start making that distinction that it's okay, 80 años ka na, huwag ka na. This guy is young.
Siya lang yan. So that, yes, go ahead.
Tony, doon sa point yung generating ideas, no?
Yes.
One thing different with the generation now to the generation before, like you're talking about Jose Rizal, you know, they're fond of discussing issues or ideas with other Filipinos, for example, when they were in Spain, you know, trying to do something for the country. There are less distraction, or you don't have computers or cell phones or whatever during that time, or even 60s, 70s. So there are more opportunities for people, young people, to discuss things with fellow young people. Probably the statement that the youth is the future of or the hope of the fatherland, it's because the strength, since they're young, they're going to take over. If you have good, the values of the youth are good, they're well equipped to face the future, then we have a good future, the country, because they'll be here longer than the old guys, no? It doesn't mean the old guys is not needed, their ideas is not needed, but the young are going to be here longer. But the point is, there are more interaction then, the way I look at it, because technology is not yet that prevalent, and I don't know if that's one reason why when you look at reunions or family get-together, you know, discussions are are limited because everybody, even small kids, they have their own gadget to play with.
So Ed, is technology a bane or a boon to getting good ideas engendered?
That's a good question, and
On the contrary, this generation, they love to converse. They love to talk. But I am challenging myself also. Perhaps you could join me in the quest. How to get them talk about values. How to get them using the media now, which is their mastery. How to get it into this conversation that will bring in values and possibilities.
Oh, but one of the worrisome things I've heard before, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that discussions of many people, especially young people, look like echo chambers. You talk to the people who agree with you. You reinforce each other's ideas.
It seems to the choir.
Sing to the choir. And that concept of echo chamber is probably one of the most worrisome developments in recent time. Because when you can only talk to people who agree with you, you do not learn how to respond to people who do not agree with you, who may love you, who may be your family and friends. And I have enough friends who have gone into trouble with their friends because they did not want to hear negative feedback. But negative feedback is more valuable many times than positive feedback. Does that sound
Fraternal correction.
at the level of, of course we all believe in fraternal correction, but is that something that sounds as if that it really happens, or?
Just to react to what Tony was saying, asking, is it a boon
Or a bane?
or a bane? I think it is both. Depending on how depending on how you use it.
It depends on whether it's Ed using it or someone else.
But the world has
Yeah,
changed,
yeah,
and this
yeah.
is part of the change. We have to make sure that it changes everything for the better. But what I notice is that we have lost the sense of wonder about the sources of knowledge that have formed men like St. Augustine, St. Thomas, and all this.
Mga kabarkada.
Yung education natin, wala ng theology, wala ng philosophy. We are focused on the means of doing things. We have to go
Because,
back to our roots.
but isn't it because in our lives today, people have to respond quickly, unfortunately.
Yes.
There's this constant demand to achieve something.
But you have to respond in the correct way. And the correct way can only be ascertained by strengthening your foundations.
In fact, think about your home or your friends and ask yourself, when was the last time you had a conversation like this? And I think
Last
it
night.
will be hard to remember. Last night. So, that's, no, but isn't that one of the foundations of good relationships? To be able to talk about these things that maybe half the people you're talking with do not understand, and later will understand better than you.
That's what you discuss with your children.
Because that was one of the takeaways I thought we could suggest. That when barkadas get together or talk on the cell phone by texting or go online, that maybe they could spend a few minutes talking about very fundamental and basic things like what kind of a person do you want to be? What is the overarching idea you would carry into your adult life? What are those ideas you will bring when you consider work or a business? Values is one good idea. What are the others? Yeah. No, so maybe she can say something.
Well, I agree that technology is a double-edged sword. It both can help us and both can harm. So it's really important that we also learn how to use technology. It's unfortunate that you would see even parents who use technology not in the right ways. Maybe this is the reason why kids nowadays also copy. That's the most basic unit of society is the family. An immediate thing that a child will copy is how his or her parents have. So that's my idea. But I also want to share what I read and saw in the internet. A speaker in the World Economic Forum once said that machines will take over people. That's why factories have removed people from work because machines are taking over. Technology is improving, and the reason why we have to put a value on values formation is because it's these soft parts that the machines can come. Knowledge can be imparted. Machine can outspeed the human being, but it's these soft parts, the core of what makes us human. That's what the machines can't exceed.
The human
So
side.
that's why education must focus on the building up of this soft parts of the
You know, Tony, it would have been better if we have more Marian present in this kind of a
Now you know what
discussion.
will happen in the third ideas conference. Alam na. No, but it's yes. Go ahead.
You know, the focus right now is in technology. The kids learn technology right before they were able to talk, etc. So I was thinking, why not use technology to impart values?
Or father, how can
Father.
Sabi nila,
how can we use technology?
Yes.
That's the ano. How do we use
can we use
technology
technology to impart values?
To impart values. Yeah.
Because that seems to be the medium now that people understand, the young people understand. So instead of using technology for all kinds of other things, how can we use it to form the basic human being?
So before I close our discussion and thank everyone for coming, and before I let my friend here Obed summarize, may I ask each one to say some last thoughts, if you like, starting with Engineer Jun Muirong over there.
Well, ang akin lang sa experience ko talaga, more pa rin talaga sa values, yung soft side sa human, Kasi yung equipment kasi madaling matutunan yun eh. You could invent things, kagaya nga yung ginagawa nga namin, sa innovations, tinitignan namin yung sustainability nito. So, kung wala yung soft side nito, kung wala yung soft side sa heart mo, kapag magagawa mo rito para masustain ito, baka negative yung may papasok na negative at the end eh. So parating tignan mo rito yung positive side. So kung yung wala yung kulang yung values mo doon, hindi mo ma-achieve yung positive side. So nasa heart pa rin yan eh. Sa values pa rin ng tao. Kaya ginagawa namin ito, we create livelihood in a sustainable way para mapaganda yung buhay nila.
Thank
So
you.
values talaga napakahalaga.
I have 3 children. I have 2 grandchildren. And when I talk to them, I realize I don't discuss these things that we discuss here. And it's a nice sort of wake-up call that, I should be discussing things that are, not just the day-to-day things that we do. And it's also an opportunity it's a privilege to have somebody like Marian, a young graduate, to discuss this kind of ideas. And that's why I'm saying, yeah, that's a good idea to have more of the likes of Marian interacting with guys like us.
But better idea to talk to the families.
Yeah.
I believe in that. I believe in serious conversations
Yeah.
in the family.
Yeah.
In Tagalog, in English, in Taglish, in Chinese. Tommy.
My last words would be, many problems of this world are because we are confusing means and ends. Sometimes the means become the end, and because of that, things go awry. In our case, for many people, in some schools even, technology becomes the end, not the means. In many schools, they take out the soft parts. It's only technology, period. So that reflects what's happening in society. Technology becomes the end, and everything else becomes the means. No, so I think we should try to change it. No, in other words, technology is a means towards the end, and the end is really the human person that you're talking about.
Well, we had to bring in Rizal into this conversation. By quoting what he said, that youth is the hope of the fatherland. I'd like to say that perhaps the seniors are the hope of the youth today.
The children adults.
Nasa category ako ng
Children adults.
Now, we all try to live our lives the best way we can. I try to focus on one thing. I have been a politician, and I think I still am. I'm a journalist and many things. But before I look at myself as a politician, I try to look at myself as a human being, and what Marion was saying. This is the basic thing. We have to succeed as humans. And the human being within a Christian culture has a first and last end. Sami. God is your first and last end. So your relationship, every moment of your life, there is not a single second in your life that you are not a child of God. And this is what should occupy your innermost, outermost thoughts. Yeah, that should be the focus, I think. So whatever means are available, we should use them to attain this objective, to be closer. We will earn billions, trillions from your over business. But if at the end of the day you have failed as a child of God, then yun ang nangyari sa buhay natin. I could annoy President Duterte 7 days a week, pero kung wala rin, if that does not bring me closer to the Lord, then walang nangyari sa buhay ko. I'm 78 years old, no?
Nananakot lang siya.
People say you're too old. No, but let us not forget that Noah started building
The ark.
the ark when he was almost 600 years old. So the future is not solely for the young.
So you still have a few hundred years.
Still have a few hundred years ahead of us.
We only have a small dinghy here, man.
Many will build that ark.
Okay, finally, Mark.
For kind of it, I think if you really want to change society, if you want to improve, to help society, maybe we should see humans not as problems, but as problem solvers. Because first and foremost, humans are the most abundant resources, most important resources in the world. So if we invest on their education, their holistic development, then we can start from there. Because at the end of the day, the world is for the humans to live in. And like what you said earlier, society is built for humans.
No, you will go say Kanye.
Thank you. Well, I believe everybody has their part. And to foster new ideas, it has to start from the start, from the child. Now, there's this a study, they call it intergenerational learning, where you can imagine this as an elderly home and a foster or a daycare center put into one, wherein now the elderlies are the one imparting their wisdom to the young. So they will not, now that they have gone through life, they have now a different perspective of it. They will not now tell a child who dreams that he can fly, no, you can't do it. They will now foster him to be imaginative enough and support with that kind of thinking. So I think, yes, both youth and has to work hand in hand to create a better society, a beautiful society.
Thank you. Sir Benny.
It says that success can reach its own failure. So, too much success can destroy you. think that you cannot do anything wrong. In 1965, the National JCs called for a convention at Intercon. The theme was very nice. National discipline, the key to progress. And thereafter, the candidate for president of
What year?
1965.
First election.
Marcos.
Yes.
That was the first year of Marcos.
Yes, Marcos won.
The candidate from Mindanao decided to buy all of the rooms of Intercon.
Perhaps.
It's the GC.
The candidate from Capital JCs could not afford, even if he had the chance to buy, could not afford. He was banking on his record. Then the candidate from Capital lost miserably. In fact, it affected his businesses and the like. Thereafter, look at the theme, national discipline, the key to progress. 2 or 3 years thereafter, the same was the motto of the campaign. And the two candidates said, kung sino mas mandaya, o tayo muna no. Kaya, nag-kidnap pa iba ng voting delegates na hindi nakuto. Nung manalo isa, nag-protesta isa. So, in the first history of the JCs in the Philippines, a guy who was never elected president of his chapter, who cannot be national, was asked by the SEC, he was EVP, to assume the presidency kasi hindi magkasundo eh. So the first record in the Philippines, a non-chapter president became president. So, nag-toss coin ng dalawa, the first will be president, the next year, hindi niya lalabanan, yung iba. Okay. It said it. So the first year, candidate isa. The second year, kunwari may biglang dumating na candidate, kinasusan na kabila. Kasi pinarapan ko siya. And look at it in this level. Nasa pa na yan. Medium achievers na yan. Mga JCs. We don't have a key discipline. If we will have discipline within ourselves, it will start within ourselves and start in your own family the way you can. It may take forever, but if you start somewhere, sometime, we can change the system. But success can build its own payment. Pagka marami ka ng successes in life, akala mo mahusay ka na. You cannot achieve your payment. Let's look at it this way. Important ng mga detalye and so forth. Improve on the details, improve on the project, improve on that project, and there's still hope. Country.
Thank you, Benny. Before I give it to my friendly brother Obed, I would like to report that this is a conversation about ideas. So I'd like to mention two things concerning this question of question before our ideas roundtable. The first thing I'd like to suggest is that people should read. You go to the internet if you like. There are many sources of what is a good list. In my case, the books I am trying to finish reading are recommended by Dr. Crift or Dr. Kreft. I don't know if you've read about it. There are 40 books he's recommending. He says Narnia should be read, Lord of the Rings should be read, Plato's Republic should be read, and so on. So that's the first. That's the first suggestion that I think is needed for good ideas to be engendered, to be generated. That we must read, and second, we must dialogue. So I encourage those who will be watching these tape materials to start their own discussions, because there will be, I am sure, many good ideas coming from places we do not expect it to come from. Maybe much better than what most of us have discussed this morning. So to close our short roundtable, may I ask Brother Obed to do the honors and summarize everything and close.
This is the first time I've ever facilitated such a beautiful interchange and exchange of this concept so big. It's I believe it's as large as the universe and bigger than cyberspace, and it would be called ideas. And somebody called for ideas to become purposeful, and we encountered the journey of ideas, which started by infrastructure, made it a tremendous success, by livelihood and industry, made it success, an ongoing quest for integration and challenge, and CSR as an ongoing solution, an ongoing operative salvation, I think, for these ideas to become purposeful. We've gone through the battle of means and ends, of mentors and tormentors, adult children and children adults. Ideas now are, as the discussion went on, are led by the spirit into the human being. And I believe, I want to end this with a story I gathered. There's a researcher who wants to prove that a kindergarten student cannot solve complicated problems. So he cut out a National Geographic's world map and have the kindergarten student solve it. Nobody solved it except the most unruly one. And when he asked, how were you able to solve it? I will have a margin of error in my research. And he said, I did not solve the National Geographic's world map. I turned it around and there's a picture of a boy, and I solved it, turned around, the world map was solved. So we're going now to the individual, and I saw this is a coincidence that everything will start with the letter I. There's a call for integration, for ideas to be integrated. There's a call for intentionality, and there's a call for influence to bring out the identity. Whether you're a youth, whether you're an adult youth or youth adult, there's a call for a mission-like yearning for all of us to make ideas come back to where it has to come from. That's the human heart, which is the concern of every ideas. Every idea will bring you to a bigger quest for more ideas. Happy nga ni Sir Toby. Alam na natin yung next na direction ng forum na ito. But nonetheless, we will heed the call to keep on entertaining this. We started with Rizal saying that the youth is the future of fatherland, but you see that the seniors also, it's a very important role to mentor the youth. So that's it, and I'm challenged for the next. I can't wait for the next forum.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning.
Thank
Thank you. Happy, let's have a nice picture.
Yeah, sige.
My brother.
I'll get her out. One more.